Listen, the most expensive thing you own is not your car, not your jewelry, not even your house. The most expensive thing you own is your energy. And if you keep giving that away to the wrong people, you'll stay broke mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Energy is the currency of life, and the way you spend it determines whether you build wealth or stay stuck in debt. When you really sit back and look at life, you start to understand that your energy is everything. It's what fuels your thoughts, it's what drives your actions, and it's what shapes your reality. But the problem most people don't realize is that they are wasting this powerful force on the wrong people. Think about it. Every time you give your attention, your effort, and your presence to someone who doesn't value it, you're making an investment that pays no return. That's like putting your money into a broken machine and hoping it somehow gives you profit. Energy doesn't just disappear, it transfers, and when you keep pouring it into people who have no capacity to refill you, you leave yourself empty, frustrated, and stuck. You can't build a future when your battery is constantly drained by the wrong connections. You have to understand that there are people in your life who show up only to take. They might smile when you're around. They might laugh with you. They might even call themselves friends or family. But when it's time to give back, when it's time to support you, they're nowhere to be found. These are the same people who stay silent when you accomplish something big, who downplay your success, or who constantly try to remind you of your past whenever you're pushing toward a new level. And yet, so many people still keep these connections alive, hoping that one day those individuals will change or suddenly start to see their worth. The truth is, every moment you spend trying to convince someone to value you is a moment you steal from yourself. That's energy that could be invested in learning and building your craft, in strengthening your health, in making moves that push your life forward. When you continuously give your energy to people who don't reciprocate, you create an imbalance. Imagine trying to fill up a bucket with water, but the bucket has a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it will never stay full. That's exactly what it feels like when you deal with people who only know how to take. You walk away tired, questioning yourself, wondering why you don't feel motivated, when the truth is you've been allowing someone else to drain the very power you need to keep going. This is why it's so important to be conscious of who gets access to your time and your attention. Your energy should not be free to anyone who asks for it. It should be guarded like treasure. Protecting your energy is not about being selfish, it's about being wise. Too many people confuse loyalty with sacrifice, thinking that just because someone has been in their life for years, they deserve unlimited access to them. But longevity doesn't equal value. There are people who have been around for decades and still haven't shown growth, still haven't offered support, still haven't contributed anything meaningful to your life. You have to ask yourself, are you keeping them around out of love or out of habit? Because habits can be dangerous when they stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. Not everyone deserves access to you, and that's a truth a lot of people struggle to accept. Just because someone is loud in your life doesn't mean they hold purpose in your journey. There are people who take up space simply because you allow them to. They're not there to elevate you. They're not there to inspire you. They're just filling the silence. And sometimes we hold on to these people because we're scared of being alone or because we feel guilty about cutting them off. But you have to remember, every ounce of energy you waste on the wrong person is energy that could be spent on building yourself. You can't move at full speed toward your purpose if half of your fuel is being burned in the wrong direction. You also need to be careful not to confuse familiarity with loyalty. Just because someone has been around for years doesn't mean they're loyal to you. Some people stay close not because they support you, but because they want to monitor you. They want to keep you within reach so they can measure your progress, compare themselves to you, or make sure you never get too far ahead. That type of energy is dangerous because it looks like friendship on the surface but drains you underneath. The only way to protect yourself from it is by setting boundaries and refusing to allow anyone access who does not align with your vision. Another trap is mistaking constant presence for real value. Some people will always be around not because they care, but because they've learned how to take advantage of your kindness. You might find yourself saying yes to them because it feels easier than saying no, or because you don't want to seem cold-hearted. But at the end of the day, you're paying the price in your energy. The truth is, saying no is one of the most powerful forms of self-protection you have. It doesn't mean you're mean, it means you're focused. And focus requires clarity. The people who deserve your energy are the ones who match it. They don't just take, they give. They don't just watch, they participate. They don't just stand by, they uplift you, challenge you, and push you to reach higher. If someone is not bringing that type of presence into your life, then every ounce of energy you give them is wasted potential. Imagine what your life could look like if you took that same energy and poured it into your goals, into your vision, into people who truly support you. The return would be limitless. Your energy is sacred, and once you truly understand its value, you'll stop giving it away so freely. You'll learn to recognize when someone is draining you and have the strength to pull back. You'll learn to protect your time, your focus, and your peace like your life depends on it, because in reality it does. Where your energy flows is where your future grows, and the wrong people will always try to steal that flow for themselves. But once you stop wasting energy on them, you free yourself to create the life you've always envisioned. If you want to know where your life is headed, look closely at the people around you. Your environment is shaping you every single day, whether you realize it or not. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if you're surrounded by people who are lazy, unmotivated, and unwilling to grow, that energy will eventually rub off on you. Humans are mirrors. We reflect the habits, attitudes, and mindsets of the people we spend the most time with. If you spend enough hours with people who don't dream beyond survival, you'll start lowering your own vision just to fit in. And the scary part is, you won't even notice it happening until years have passed and you wonder why your life feels stuck in the same place. It's often said that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a catchy quote, it's a truth backed by experience. If your circle is filled with people who procrastinate, who talk more than they execute, who are satisfied with mediocrity, then you will find yourself adapting to their rhythm. Excellence becomes uncomfortable when nobody around you is reaching for it. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with driven, disciplined, and focused individuals, you're forced to rise to their level. They won't let you settle. They'll make you feel like doing the bare minimum is unacceptable. That's the power of association, and it's either your greatest advantage or your biggest obstacle. When you're trying to build something meaningful, the wrong crowd can slow your progress without you even noticing. Maybe you have a vision of becoming financially free, but the people around you are constantly blowing money on instant gratification. Slowly, you find yourself doing the same, telling yourself it's not that serious. Or maybe you have a goal of staying disciplined with your health, but your circle always encourages late nights, unhealthy habits, and no accountability. Before long, your body reflects their choices, not your own. This is how energy works. It doesn't just stay in one person, it spreads and becomes the atmosphere you live in. This is why it's not enough to just have dreams and goals written down. You have to protect those dreams by carefully choosing who has access to you. Because the truth is, no matter how strong your willpower is, if you're consistently in the wrong environment, you will eventually conform to it. You can't plant a seed in toxic soil and expect it to grow into something beautiful. The soil has to be right, and for your life, the soil is the people you keep close. Another way the wrong crowd slows your progress is by distracting you from your purpose. They fill your time with drama, unnecessary arguments, and meaningless conversations that don't add any value to your growth. You find yourself constantly drained, not because you're working hard on your vision, but because you're carrying the emotional weight of people who thrive on chaos. That energy leaves you tired, unfocused, and uninspired. Instead of thinking about the next step for your business, your career, or your personal development, you're caught up in resolving conflicts that should never have been yours to begin with. Energy wasted on drama is energy stolen from destiny. Every hour you spend defending yourself against someone's negativity is an hour you could have invested in building something for yourself. Time is the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money and make it again, but you can't relive yesterday. And yet so many people throw away their most valuable hours in arguments, gossip, and toxic relationships that do nothing but hold them back. Imagine what you could accomplish if you redirected that energy towards something productive. The same passion you put into proving a point could be the passion that fuels your next project. The same energy you waste on keeping someone who doesn't value you could be the energy that helps you learn a new skill or build a new stream of income. Drama has a way of making you believe it's urgent, but in reality it's empty. It tricks you into feeling like you're doing something important, when in truth you're just standing still. You can't move like a boss while being pulled into battles that don't pay. Every time you allow yourself to get caught in that trap, you're choosing distraction over destiny. The key is learning how to let go of the need to always respond, to always prove, to always explain yourself to people who will never understand your vision anyway. Silence is often the most powerful response, because it keeps your energy intact. When you focus on your path and stop giving attention to distractions, you create momentum. That momentum builds consistency, and consistency leads to results. The people who achieve greatness are not always the most talented, but they are the most focused. They don't let unnecessary battles consume their energy. They understand that their purpose is bigger than their ego, so they protect their time like it's gold. They choose wisely what to engage in and what to walk away from. And because of that discipline, they're able to channel their energy into things that actually matter. Ask yourself this: how much further would you be in life if you hadn't wasted so many hours on people who drained you? How many opportunities slipped by while you were distracted by negativity? And most importantly, how much peace could you have right now if you had chosen to walk away instead of fight meaningless battles? These are questions that can shift the way you see your energy, because once you understand that your focus is the bridge to your future, you'll stop giving it away so cheaply. The wrong crowd and unnecessary drama both work the same way. They steal from you silently. At first, it seems harmless, just a little conversation here, just a small argument there. But over time, those moments add up, and you look back wondering why you haven't moved forward. The truth is you were moving, just not in the right direction. Instead of stepping toward your goals, you were circling in place, burning fuel without progress. That's the cost of wasted energy, and the longer you allow it, the more expensive it becomes. Some people only love you when you are small. They love you when you are struggling, when you are accessible at every moment, when you don't have much to your name and your energy is available on demand. The moment you begin to grow, the moment you start shining, elevating, and demanding more from yourself, that love starts to shift. Their smiles fade, their support turns quiet, and suddenly you begin to feel the resistance. It's not because you change for the worse, it's because your growth is forcing them to confront their own stagnation. Your elevation exposes their lack of movement, and instead of being inspired, they choose to be resentful. That's why you can't waste your light trying to make them comfortable. Your shine isn't supposed to shrink just so someone else can feel better about not chasing their own. The truth is, some people are only comfortable with you when you're not a threat to their ego. They want you around as long as you're playing small, as long as you don't remind them of the work they're not doing, as long as you don't disturb the comfort of their excuses. The minute you begin to outgrow them, you become a mirror they don't want to look into. That's why you'll notice them pulling back when you win, not clapping when you succeed, or even throwing shade in subtle ways. And yet, too many people dim their light in those moments, just to hold on to relationships that no longer serve them. But here's the reality: the right people will never feel threatened by your growth. They will celebrate you like your wins are their wins. They will push you further because they see your progress as proof that greatness is possible for everyone in the circle. Your light is not meant to be hidden, and the worst thing you can do is water yourself down for people who can't handle the full version of you. When you do that, you not only cheat yourself, but you also cheat the world out of the gifts you were meant to share. Playing small to make others feel big is a trap that keeps too many people stuck. You weren't created to stay at the bottom of the mountain just because others are too afraid to climb. You were created to rise, to evolve, and to show others what growth looks like in action. And if that makes some people uncomfortable, let them deal with it. Your responsibility is not to protect their insecurities, it's to honor your own potential. This is where the lesson of separation comes in. Growth requires separation, and that is one of the hardest truths for most people to accept. Not everyone who started with you will finish with you. That doesn't mean they were bad people. It doesn't mean they didn't have love for you. It simply means their role in your story has reached its end. Too many times, people hold on to expired relationships out of guilt or fear of being alone, but in doing so, they hold themselves back from the version of life they were meant to experience. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary, and part of that growth means leaving behind the weight that keeps you grounded when you were meant to fly. Think about it. A tree cannot keep every leaf forever. Seasons change and leaves fall, not because the tree hates them, but because the tree is moving into a new stage of growth. The same is true for your life. Some people were only meant to be in your story for a season, to teach you something, to support you at a certain stage, to share experiences that help shape you. But if you force them to stay beyond their time, you end up carrying dead weight that blocks your next season of elevation. Letting go is not betrayal, it is alignment. You cannot become who you are destined to be while still holding on to every person from who you used to be. Separation also teaches you strength. It shows you that you are capable of standing on your own, that your identity does not need to be validated by the size of your circle. Too many people are afraid of being alone, so they surround themselves with anyone just to fill the silence. But solitude is where true growth happens. When you separate from the noise, you hear your own voice clearly. You start to realize what you want, what you value, and what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. That clarity is priceless, and it can only come when you step away from connections that cloud your vision. Don't mistake separation for bitterness. It's not about cutting people off with anger or hate. It's about recognizing when your paths no longer align. If someone is not walking in the same direction as you, then holding on to them will only slow you down. Separation is an act of love for yourself, and in some ways even for them, because it frees both of you to find spaces where you truly belong. Sometimes the best thing you can do for a relationship is let it go, so both sides can evolve without resistance. As you grow, you will notice that your circle gets smaller, but your life gets bigger. That's the paradox of separation. You may lose people, but you gain focus. You may feel lonely at times, but you also feel lighter, more aligned, and more powerful. And soon new connections will enter your life. People who match your frequency, who share your vision, who inspire you instead of drain you. But those people can't enter as long as you're still holding the door open for the ones who were meant to leave. Growth is not easy and separation can feel painful, but the reward is freedom. Freedom from carrying weight that doesn't belong to you, freedom from dimming your light for others, and freedom to step fully into the life you were created to live. When you honor that process, you give yourself permission to keep rising, no matter who claps and no matter who walks away. When you look at how life works, you begin to see that energy is not something you just spend. It is something you can invest. The difference between spending and investing is that spending drains you while investing multiplies what you put in. That's why it's so important to be intentional about where you place your energy. If you keep giving it to people who don't value it, who don't feed your spirit, or who don't push you to grow, then all you're doing is spending and leaving yourself empty. But if you pour your energy into the right places, into people and projects that elevate you, you'll find that what you gave returns to you in abundance. Energy invested correctly comes back stronger, more powerful, and with momentum that can transform your entire life. Think about the moments when you've been around people who inspire you. Their energy doesn't drain you, it fuels you. They talk about ideas, opportunities, and solutions instead of gossip, drama, and problems. When you walk away from them, you don't feel empty, you feel motivated. That's what it means to invest your energy where it multiplies. Those are the environments where your ideas grow faster, your vision feels clearer, and your spirit feels lighter. You have to recognize the difference between people who only consume your energy and people who expand it. Because one will keep you stagnant, and the other will push you into levels of success you didn't even know were possible. Every time you invest your energy into growth, into learning, into building something real, you're planting seeds. Those seeds might not sprout overnight, but with consistency they will grow into results that last. On the other hand, when you waste your energy on negativity, arguments, or people who drain you, you're planting weeds. And weeds grow fast, but they choke the life out of everything else you're trying to build. That's why you have to be disciplined with your focus. Ask yourself daily, is what I'm doing with my energy creating growth, or is it keeping me stuck? If it's not multiplying, then it's costing you more than you can afford. One of the most powerful ways to invest your energy is by surrounding yourself with people who match your vision. When you're around individuals who think bigger, who set high standards, and who refuse to settle, you automatically elevate yourself. They push you to refine your habits, to challenge your excuses, and to hold yourself accountable. That type of environment multiplies your energy because it forces you to rise to the occasion. You can't stay average when your circle demands excellence. You can't play small when the people around you are constantly reminding you of your potential. That's the kind of multiplication that changes lives. But it's not just about people. Investing your energy into your purpose brings the same effect. Every hour spent mastering your craft, every moment spent building discipline, every ounce of effort you put into your vision creates momentum. At first, it feels small, like nothing is happening. But just like compound interest over time, the little efforts grow into massive returns. You begin to see progress, and that progress fuels your belief, and that belief gives you even more energy to keep going. That's how you build power, not by wasting energy randomly, but by channeling it into something that keeps giving back. With that understanding comes another truth, and that is the priceless nature of your peace. Too many people underestimate how valuable peace really is. They chase money, attention, or validation, but they sacrifice peace in the process. And without peace, none of those things can be enjoyed. What good is financial success if your mind is restless and your spirit is heavy? What good is recognition if you can't even sleep at night because of the chaos you've allowed into your life? Peace is not something you can buy in a store. It is created by the choices you make about where your energy goes. When you guard your peace, you are saying no to anything that tries to disrupt your focus or drain your spirit. You're saying no to people who bring negativity, no to situations that only create stress, no to opportunities that don't align with your values. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you avoid challenges. It means you choose battles that matter. You don't waste your energy proving yourself to people who will never understand your vision. You don't waste your time chasing relationships that are built on fake love or shallow connections. You understand that your peace is the foundation for everything else in your life, and without it, you can't build anything lasting. Peace is also the space where creativity and clarity are born. When your mind is calm, you see solutions more clearly, you hear your inner voice more loudly, and you're able to make decisions without being clouded by outside noise. That's why people who protect their peace often move faster and more effectively toward their goals. They're not distracted by unnecessary drama or weighed down by toxic energy. They know that every moment of chaos steals from their ability to focus, so they choose to keep their space clean, their mind sharp, and their spirit light. There's another layer to peace that often gets overlooked. Peace allows you to attract the right opportunities and people into your life. When you stop wasting energy on the wrong things, you create room for the right ones to enter. The universe has a way of filling the space you create. If your energy is tied up in toxic situations, there's no space for blessings to flow. But once you release what doesn't serve you, new doors open, new connections arrive, and new opportunities show up almost effortlessly. That's the reward of valuing your peace over temporary distractions. Your peace is not negotiable, it's essential. Don't trade it for attention because attention fades. Don't trade it for fake love because fake love always exposes itself. Don't trade it for validation because validation from others can be taken away the moment you stop fitting their expectations. What can't be taken away is the strength and clarity that comes from protecting your energy and keeping your peace intact. When you make that your priority, everything else begins to align in ways you never thought possible. At the end of the day, life is shaped by the choices you make with your energy. When you learn to invest it in places that multiply, and when you protect your peace like it's the foundation of your future, you begin to rise in ways you never imagined. The wrong people, the wrong environments, and the wrong battles can steal years from your journey. But the moment you take control of your energy, you take control of your destiny. Choose to pour into what builds you, into what inspires you, into what helps you leave a legacy that outlives you. Remember that every ounce of energy you give is either planting seeds or feeding weeds, and the harvest you reap will always reflect the choices you made. Thank you for giving your time and energy to be here, for listening, and for choosing growth over distractions. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep protecting your peace. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.